I was contacted by one of the fellas that watches my YouTube video, or I should say suffers through them, poor feller. His name's Bob, and he wanted to see old Rocky again to see how he had grown and how he's getting along. Well, this is Rocky, and he has gotten bigger. He's, last time I think he was 6.5 pounds. This time I guess he's about 10.5 pounds. But I think he's at the end of his growing cycle. And we put a camouflage collar on him here, so the hawk in the backyard can't see him. You know, he'll blend into the shrubbery. Did we, boy? And in a few days, he will be neutered. So he doesn't know anything about that. But it's time to calm him down a little bit and make sure that we can live with him at a later date. So Rocky's been a good boy. He's a good fella. He still likes to roughhouse in the morning and wrestle and fight and everything. And I hope he continues to do that after he's neutered. But he's a good fella. He's a good boy. Yes, he is. Folks, you're looking at a 1936 Philco 620B. And this is the radio in terms of radio repair and restoration that taught me a very valuable lesson. Hello and greetings once again from the corner on the deck. Last night in Arkansas we had some severe storms and some tornadoes. It just whirled around and swirled around and blew through this area with a vengeance, and we had a few people lose their lives. It's just part of living in the South. My sister, who lives in New York, would never live in Arkansas. She considers the tornadoes too dangerous. So does her husband. She couldn't live. She'd be nervous. She'd be shot to pieces day in, day out, wondering when the tornado was going to come. But we who live here and who have lived here for several years, we understand it all. You know, it's a trade-off you make. Yeah, it's dangerous. We worry about it all the time, but we can't let it control our lives. And you know, we're real sorry about the people who died last night. It's a terrible thing. And there's supposed to be more tonight, so I don't know. This is a Philco model 620B. I rebuilt this for my sister-in-law and her husband early last year. I bought it on eBay, and I did it because my brother-in-law, they live in the woods just like me, down the road here a little ways, and they were cutting trees out of their front yard last year, and the last couple of years actually, they would split up wood and bring it to me for free, and we would use it in our wood stove during the wintertime, and they never asked for anything in return. Well, you know, I always feel obligated. I feel it's necessary to give something back when you receive something. So I bought this radio. It's the only thing I could really do for them. They have a nice house. I figured a nice radio would look good in their living room, and I gave it extra special attention. But, you know, this radio, when I first got it, it sort of kind of maybe played, you know, but it didn't play well. So I got in there, started changing everything. Sometimes it would play again after I changed something. Sometimes it wouldn't. And we played this cat and mouse game back and forth for, oh gosh, about a month. And I finally got it playing, I thought, until I turned up the volume. And when I turned up the volume, there was a terrible squealing. And I just, you got to be kidding me. I've been working on this all this time, and I can't get this thing to play without it squealing. Well, back in, you know, dig, test. Constantly, you know, turn the volume up, squeal. Go back in, check the schematic, check the parts, check the soldering joints, check the wires, check everything, you know. And it's a real blow to a fella's ego, a man's ego, when he thinks he knows how to repair a radio and the radio will not get repaired. It's comical in a way when you think about it. Anyway, after 2 weeks of this, I had been working on it now for, 6 weeks. After 2 weeks, I was just frustrated to the point I didn't know what to do. I had tried everything, I thought. And I said, well, someone else is going to have to repair this radio because someone smarter than I am. Well, that night I was sitting on the sofa and watching the TV, having a cup of coffee, and it suddenly occurred to me, you know, that when your mind is relaxed and it's out of your head, sometimes you can actually solve a problem quite easily. So I said, geez, you know, I wonder if those tube shields needed to be on those tubes, you know. Of course, you know, I had been pulling the tubes in and out, doing this, doing that, so I kind of left the shields to the side, and just so they wouldn't be in my way. Well, I got up and I said, well, I'll put it back on just in case, you know, the way that thing was squealing, chances are that those shields weren't needed, you know, it was squealing too loud for that when I cranked up the volume. Well, I I came over, I took the tube shields, I put them on, turned on the radio, and it played perfectly. You know, 2 weeks of screwing around with this thing could have been solved if I had just put the tube shields on the tubes. Oh man, talk about a lesson learned. That will never happen again. And it has not happened again. So what I'm going to do is take the camera off the tripod, give you a little closer look-see of this baby. It's one of my better restorations. I'm kind of proud of it because I spent a lot of time. I wanted them to have a quality product. We'll look at the back, we'll look at the front, we'll listen to it a little bit, and then we'll knock this off because the rain is liable to hit at any second. Alright, well here she is again in a nice little close-up. I put a reproduction dial scale in there. I wanted them to have something nice, like I said, and this is a reproduction cloth. It's a perfect, both of them are perfect replicas of the original. And I also got some decals from a place called Radio Days, and I put the brand new Philco decal on it. Now the front did turn out just a tad darker than I wanted it, but considering what they had when I started, this is really an excellent radio, and the finish turned out very nice. I'm real proud of it, and they liked it a lot. And so, let me turn this baby around here. All right, for those that don't know what a tube shield is, it's this metal thing you see right here that surrounds the tube. They come in different shapes, different sizes. They were made back in the old days. What happens is one tube, for instance, this tube right here, surrounded by this shield. Let me get this speaker wire out of the way. This tube here, when it begins to conduct, may actually interfere with this tube right here. Let's see if I can get a little closer view. Or this tube may interfere with this one. They discovered that, or it could be some cross signaling between these two tubes. So what they did was they surrounded these tubes with metal and then hooked them to a metal base down here, which is riveted to the chassis. And any signals that escape from one tube and try to interfere with the other tube will no longer be sent out into the air where it can be picked up by another tube. Instead, it will hit this shield, go down, and be grounded out. So what was happening was I had signals interfering with all the different tubes. So let's listen to it. I had to run over to my sister-in-law's and get this radio today. She's not too fond of letting it out of her house, but she did it for me. Your band switch is here, your volume and on-off switch is here, and this is your tone control switch. And this outer dial is your coarse, this one here, and the center one is a fine adjust. So watch how the coarse moves. See, it moves quite a ways, but the inner one moves it very slowly. I don't know what the ratio is, 55 to 1, or anyway, it moves it very, very slow. And let's see if we can tune in some broadcasts during the day around here. AM broadcast to include shortwave is not so hot, but we'll do what we can here. This is the broadcast band. Like I said, it's really bad during the day. I can't ever seem to get anything during the day around here. Hey everybody, listen up! We get some, but nothing of real quality. Let's go to the shortwave band, where we get most stuff during the day, if we get anything at all. I think that's Radio China International, or China Radio International.
For the terror by night,
well, maybe not.
or for the arrow that flieth by
But anyway, that's it. The Philco 620B from 1936. From the corner on the deck, this is John. You all have a great day.